So we're back with Universe Ticket Episode 9. This is titled Debut. So there are 24 girls left at the beginning of this episode. And then this is the unit station section where they're going to be performing new songs. So they're separated into two groups. Each producer of vendors visits each group, and the new songs are presented to each of them. And so one song is called Dream Girl, and the other song is called Yummy Yum. So what happens in this section is that after they perform, people will be eliminated from the same day of the performance from each unit, one person per unit, and so that's two people eliminated right away. And this is decided by the unicorns producers. It's decided by the people in the units as well as the opposing units. And so two votes or more equals elimination. And so it's not like whoever you collectively vote for in one unit decides the total units, I think. But I'm not sure if people in the group are actually voting. As in, I don't think that actually counts. I think they're just kind of singled out at one point just to see how they're doing, I think. But in the end, I think it's unicorns, producers, and opposing units. But anyways, let's just get into it. And so, the first group up is the Dream Girls. And so, for the Dream Girls, the main issue with these girls is that this song has a lot of high notes, and I guess it's just it requires more to sing it. And so, when it comes down to it, the usual suspects do well here. But there's actually so few of them in the actual recording booth section, and that's because I guess only some of them have that range. Now, interestingly, Nana is here. Remember, Nana signed up for the visuals before. She didn't sign up for the singers, and so I'm kind of curious about why she's here, but it's not like she's ever been, unstable during a live performance, and so I guess she's just here to challenge herself. She struggles a lot, actually, during the recordings where the other girls don't, and so the producers suggest that she may be holding back a bit, and it could have to do with her confidence levels, but it could also have to do with just she knows her range, and maybe she just can't get there to the same level that the other girls are getting there. But anyways, first time I think this is when we see her break down here, and she usually holds herself in this kind of pageant level composure, and she's trying so hard to appear composed all the time. And so it's very interesting to see this insecurity, and we'll touch on this a little bit later on. But this was probably the first time I've ever seen her be like this, because normally she's just kind of just smiling, looking off to the end, and it's not a complete happy smile too. It's kind of just a smile for the camera, kind of like a fake smile, right? And so it's kind of interesting seeing her here really showing her emotions. Anyways, they get to perform later on, and she endeavors to do better. But they have this thing called the interim evaluation where the girls perform their song for the entirety of the group of other girls who are performing the other song. And then after they perform, I'm not sure who is voting. I think it may be every single girl from both sides, because I could have sworn I've seen people from both sides voting here. But they basically give you a heads up if you're on the chopping block, because they tell you how you're doing. And so it was kind of unanimous here that Yona was selected as the one who may be not doing that well, and they showed it in these kind of voting videos, and so I thought that was kind of a little bit of pointless drama for, I guess, the sake of drama. But interestingly, is Nana even votes against her, and she's sitting right next to her, and so that was kind of interesting. But yeah, Yona definitely had a heads up about what was going to happen to her here. But then we get to their performance, and I feel like this was a good performance. I feel like it's above what they've done in the past. It had very good sync starting out. Everyone did well vocally, and it was a clean delivery. I don't really have any gripes about it. But anyways, at the end of this performance, the unicorns basically single out Yona. And I don't know if the unicorns get backstage information and then they decide from that as well, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did get extra information, because to some degree this show does feel a little rigged. And so I don't know if they can just look on stage and say Yona didn't bring it enough, because I didn't notice anything and they didn't edit it in there for me to see. And then Nana was just randomly praised for rap, and so obviously that kind of harkens back to earlier, where she's struggling in the recording room. Obviously, she didn't get a vocal role in the same sense, but now she's just doing rap, and so they praised her for that, and so that seemed to be like a little bit of audience perception management, because it wasn't really necessary to bring that up unless they knew secret information behind the scenes. But after this, they kind of vote for who's going to get out of there, and only two people were nominated, which is Yona and Yuri. But Yuri is nominated by the producers from, what's it called? The vendors. But then both the opposing team, I guess the opposing team, or all the members even, and then the unicorns vote for Yona, and so she gets dropped, and she's very composed about it. She seemed angry before when she got her heads up, but anyways, let's go to the next one. That's the Dream Girls. Did I even announce that those are the Dream Girls? I can't remember. But now we're going to the Yummy Yum Girls. And so, and the Yummy Young Girls, the rappers are trying out in front of this rapper named Yezi, I guess, and Sumin and Sunwoo get their parts, but then Gabby is overlooked, and obviously she has to feel bad about that. The song is titled a cute name like Yummy Yum, but you can see very quickly that it demands ferocity. All these girls, they weren't giving enough, and the trainers had to keep stepping in on both the dance and the vocals to say, you really gotta act way harder. And so these are new trainers I haven't seen before, and it's kind of odd seeing the unicorns separated from the trainers. But let's continue. So in the interim evaluation, they all perform, and then the Dream Girls vote on them, and they seem undecided. And then Yummy Yum votes next, and then they seem to be pretty sure. But basically, Young is one of the people chosen as someone who's not performing well. And then Gabby is voted as the other person who may have been slacking or goofing off too much behind the scenes, and he will then take that as a sign of her, well, surviving this, I guess. But then she ends up, her and I think Young as well, kind of make an effort before the performance to clean things up. So let's just get to the performance. So this performance was pretty good. I really liked the dance break. I feel like that kind of made the song a little bit better. But it wasn't a bad song or anything by that. I'm just saying that that's when it really picked up a lot more, and that was near the end. But Sumin's first rap was good here. Yunha, she's praised here, man Yunha, but I don't really know why, because all she does is kind of does this thing where she whispers, and it's just like you got that part and you couldn't have messed that up really. And so it just seems like, I don't know, that's kind of weird thing to bring her up. And then I started to think about it, and yeah, Yuna is kind of asymmetrically praised a lot. Even though I feel like she has the good stoic look, like she can do this look on her face, and that's her strength. But in terms of her performing, I'm not really that hyped up about her. And then the only other thing I would say is that in this group, Haran, she was basically invisible, but it's either that or the show didn't edit her in. But to me, Haran and Yana are on the same level. It's just that Haran obviously didn't get an important part. And so that was basically it. And so we get to the unicorn feedback, and Sumin is praised, and then Yunha is also praised. And I'm like, what is that? Where is that from? But in the end, they vote, and Young is kind of unanimously chosen, and she gets dropped. And so, if you remember Young, she had vocal issues in episode 2 and episode 6, but in the end, she always performs well, and so the stuff is kind of just carrying on from behind the scenes struggles, but I feel like she delivers in the end, so I kind of feel sad that she kind of got, well, maybe it's a constant struggle, maybe it's more trouble than it's worth, maybe that's why she ended up getting kicked out. Well, the girls chose her, and so maybe it just interferes with their ability, and they just don't, well, you had to choose someone, so it's not really that they really wanted her to leave. There's going to be 8 in the end, and so After that, there's no other reason to analyze these performances because they don't tell you if one performance won over the other. It was just basically about seeing who would get kicked out by the producers and the other producers. So it's kind of like rigged in that section. And then the girls got to choose as well. But were they ever going to choose some other people? I don't know. Uh, they, with two judges, with two sets of judges, which is producers and unicorns, they're not in any danger, right? Any other favorites. But you get this promotion ceremony, and now we're eliminating rank S. So anyone stuck in rank S is going to be eliminated. And so basically, you get to see some things like Jin Hyunju promote to I, which is basically just the absolute bare minimum that you have to get in order to survive now. But then Bae Yaram and Bae Haram went up as sisters, and surprisingly, Yaram was dropped, which is strange since she had the advantage for the longest time, and Haram was kind of the underdog. And so I don't know what this is. Like maybe her sisters and her fans are very similar, and someone split the vote, and it's their actual favorite was dropped, and so I'm kind of surprised about this. But anyways, it's sad to see sisters separated. I remember last time when I remember last time there was a situation where Haram was actually upset because her sister was not succeeding in a certain way, whereas I've never seen Haram really respond to her sister in that way. And similar here, she's saying that, oh, I advanced, but I'm upset because my sister didn't make it. And then I'm not really sure what Yaram says, because I guess it wasn't that important. But anyways, in the next one, Yuna advanced to R on the left here. Sunwoo, she made it in. She's not being kicked off. And then we have this weird thing, this weird section here after this. It's called hidden ticketing. And so basically, producers get to decide who they want in it. And so hidden ticketing, they should call it rigging ticketing, because I already know it's going to be Yunha and Sumin, right? They don't say who yet, but I already know. And then, surprise, it was. And I thought that was so hilarious, because I basically said this out loud when I was watching. Oh, rigging ticketing, it's going to be Yunha and Sumin. Suddenly it happens, and I'm like, well, everybody knows. Everyone knows that the secret is that Yunha is basically untouchable. And Sumin, I would at least say that Sumin, she gets the roles, and she delivers on the roles at least, right? So she has an advantage in that she gets a lot of position advantage, but then she delivers, and I always see it. Yunha, I guess she's not bad either, but she doesn't get as much opportunity, I think. But I just feel like she has some hidden secret advantage, and then I found out later on that she's basically associated with the company that's going to debut the actual final group, and so I don't know if that's like, I don't know if what kind of situation we're seeing here. It's presumptuous on my part, but I just assume that's the case, that she has everything rigged in her favor. But anyways, next, you get to see another set of twos. So over here, we have a situation where we have Jin Young and Jayla, and Jayla gets let go. And so I feel bad for her, because this is kind of like, she has that trouble where she has no drama, but then she also kind of, she's kind of like middle of the road in terms of she has an average kind of look. And I don't mean average as in like not good looking or anything. I mean like, because she's half Asian, half white, she doesn't have the distinct features of either one of them. It kind of like blends, and it kind of depends on how it goes, but sometimes your face becomes perfectly balanced like hers, and then it's kind of like you're just a balanced person, right? But you don't like strike at anyone in any meaningful way. And then someone made the weird decision of giving her this brown hair instead of like either jet black or like really blonde, right? And so someone did not want her to be stand out in any way. But that's unfortunate for her. Another thing that happened after this is that there was one duo between Kotoko and Narumi both make it. But anyways, after this, there's a situation with Kim Soo-jin and Lee Haran. And so I didn't think Lee Haran would make it. But then I was surprised that Kim Soo-jin didn't make it. And here's the thing, Kim Soo-jin, where are my notes even? Okay, she got dropped, but during the course of the show, she turned out to be very talented and she has a very good voice. But I feel like maybe this is all happening to her because at the beginning she was a little bit cutthroat and a little bit, what word did I use for her? Underhanded, right? And I feel like long term that burns you because you don't convert people because some people are just stubborn, right? And so I don't hold grudges against anybody. And so I just kind of point out things as a matter of fact, but I don't actually judge people in any negative way sometimes. And so it's just, this is what it is. And I feel bad for her. But I feel like she would have been an asset to the group if she made it because her voice is very good. So then another unfortunate thing that happens after this is you have something between Nizi and Yuri, and Nizi didn't make it. She was dropped. And Nizi, she's very talented as well. She's like such a good dancer. But when she's not dancing, then she's like either not noticeable or she looks kind of like awkward a little bit, right? And so, in my understanding of this, she's very similar to Hannah from Eileen 1. Is that Hannah from Eileen 1, she's very plain looking, but when she dances, she's like really noticeable. And so Hannah is such a good dancer, and Nizi is the same way as Hannah in my understanding of it. Except Hannah is kind of just like looks normal when you just see her, so she's kind of just there. But then Nizi, she's kind of like awkward a little bit, right? But she's not dancing, and so basically she has to find a way to look comfortable just walking around or having that swagger turned on all the time. Whereas right now she only does it when she's dancing. Like right now she looks awkward, even like being dropped from the program, and so she needs to turn on that dancing emotions and swagger all the time, even when she's like just standing on stage. But anyways, I feel bad for her because when talented people don't make it, that upsets me a little bit, and so I feel bad for her and Sujin. And then over on the next one, we get to see two matchups between Nana and Jelly Danka. I'm sorry, I keep getting that name wrong. But interesting, Jelly's promoted to R, and she kind of reminds me of what's her name, Bai from Girls Planet. But it's less. I think Bai got less airtime. But she's obviously everyone knew that she was strong from the beginning because she's barely getting any like opportunities, but she's like making it so far. But anyways, Nana, her voting didn't change, and I feel like Nana's voting might lower by the next ceremony, and that depends entirely on her voters and how they respond to her recent cracks in composure. But I think that people want more sincerity from Nana, and so hopefully we get to see more of that. But in terms of weakness, I'm not sure how our fans will respond. And so, who knows what happened? Because I don't notice that her bar barely increased. And I don't know if she's just going to coast in the R section. But all I know is that Alicia now has a whole bunch of voters who are no longer obligated to vote for Alicia. Because Alicia ended up going up against Seowon. And not just going up to R, but jumping all the way to P. And this is where the world makes sense to me, because Alicia is basically my top pick from the very beginning, and I could see that she was going to get here. And so, congratulations to Alicia, because I think if you make it to P, you're automatically debuting, right? And then Seowon, surprisingly, hers didn't change either. And so she's very, very similar to Nana in that respect. But anyways, after this, there's, I think, 16 left. And half are going to make it, the other half won't debut in the group. Because the group's only full of 8 people. And so my only wonder right now is, now that Alicia has a secured spot, is she still going to compete in the program? Or is she just going to be like on the sidelines now? But who knows. Anyways, I like this episode a little bit. I liked it because it was kind of straightforward. You got 2 performances, you got eliminations. There was some time wasting, very little time wasting in the promotion ceremony, I feel like, but at the same time, you know what they're trying to do. You have to let them have that flex room to stoke drama for the ratings. But other than that, I'm glad they didn't do this. Oh, yeah, this team won, and this disadvantage. And the only thing I would say is that I'm pretty sure the show's rigged. I keep saying it, but I feel like it's just obviously rigged, right? And so, I mean, if that's what it is, then at least be upfront about it, right? Like I watch JYP's shows, and it's just like, yeah, the producers are choosing everybody. There's no voting. I think there was voting at one time, but then they had to do a live show, and that just messed things up, right? And so, at least in this way, I mean, what would be really surprising is if they get a final 8 and then they just add someone because they just like that person. And so, anyways, I guess that's it. By the way, over here, Alicia and Jelly both doing the posing at the end. Right? Someone taught her to put her hands on her hip and do the side head tilt. And so I guess that's it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comment box down below. Also, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.